Hello everyone, welcome to GS Score. My name is Abhishek Saxena, and this week we are back again with certain questions based on the current affairs touching upon the area of governance. As I always say, that vis-a-vis current affairs, we need to keep in mind the focus as well as the locus, and that is how the questions are framed. So let us quickly get to the very first question for this session. Consider the following statements regarding E-vidhan mission mode project. E-vidhan, right? So e-governance interventions are important. Often we look at these e-governance interventions from largely service delivery. But remember, while we talk about the state, we have the executive, legislature, judiciary, right? So we need to keep in mind the E interventions vis-a-vis all of them. Okay. So let us go through the first statement. E-vidhan envisages to digitize and make the functioning of state legislatures paperless. E-vidhan, right? So it is related to law. So this is correct. This project is under the functioning of Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Well, this is something which can be there because it's an E project. But in this case, it is the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs, right? Being the nodal ministry for this particular project. Basically, it covers all the legislative houses vis-a-vis parliament and state legislatures, right? So that is something which is to note. So the statement 2 is incorrect and we need to find the correct statement, and hence the answer is option A, right? So please remember, it's not just the e-governance vis-a-vis just the service delivery. It can be about this. So you had this e-courts, which was in news as well, right? Especially during COVID, and hence things like these are important. Moving on to the next question. With reference to India for Humanity initiative, consider the following statement. So Swami Vivekananda is being celebrated every year on various occasions, right? And hence this idea of humanity is important, as we can see this Swami Vivekananda mentioned in there also. It is the 150th year or so of rather the not just the 150th year of his the birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, right, which was there in the last couple of years. Also 75 years plus of India's independence. So the unsung heroes and such initiatives by the various government ministries are important, right? So this particular initiative is in the honor of Swami Vivekananda for his belief in universal brotherhood and the synthesis of India's spiritualism with Western materialism. Is this correct? Well, no, it is not. And this very complex situation that we have so many great personalities, so many sort of anniversaries being observed, etc., makes this thing very, very complicated of sorts. So it is rather on the 150th birthday of the Gandhiji that this initiative was launched, and hence the first statement is incorrect. It is an initiative of Ministry of External Affairs. Well, that is correct. It includes featuring a year-long series of artificial limb fitment camps in number of countries across the globe. Yes, that is correct. If you look at this and Twitter, for example, and the pages and the Twitter handles of various embassies, it was very well publicized, right? So we need to find the incorrect statements, and it is the first statement that is incorrect. Hence, the correct answer for us would be option B. Option B. Moving on. Next is about the Kirit Parikh committee. Well, a lot of committees are there in news and we need to keep a track of most of them. Especially they form interesting questions in the examination. So let us examine the statements. To review the status of minorities in the country, well, we know that a Supreme Court panel is sitting on this vis-a-vis the minorities in various states, etc. It is coming in newspapers very frequently. Next, to review natural gas prices in the country. Well, this is an interesting idea. To administer the distribution of ration under PDS, highly unlikely, in the sense that there was this Anna Yojana and the National Food Security Act already in place, and this was not in news. To review environment related laws, well, highly unlikely again. So the correct answer would be to review the gas prices. Also, energy is in news, especially after the Ukraine-Russia conflict, right? And this Kirit Parikh committee is significant as it was appointed in September 2022, right? And the idea is to review the gas pricing formula so that the consumer get the fair prices and overall the ecosystem vis-a-vis energy and gas supplies is fairly priced. So that was the idea. Moving on. With reference to Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union, consider the following statement. It is a non-profit association of the broadcasting organizations only of Asia and Pacific region. Well, as the name suggests, this statement on the face of it might be true. Let us examine the next statement. The ABU provides rights-free content acquisition for developing countries. Well, such a union, and the idea would be for cooperation, right, amongst the various broadcasters. So this also seems correct, but we need to delve deeper, because if we know about the union, then it's fine. Otherwise, it is very difficult to guess. So never guess such a question in the preliminary examination. If you know it, then you know it. Otherwise, you are in for a minus 2.66 marks. Okay. Well, as a matter of fact, both of these statements are correct and we need to find the correct option, and hence the answer is option C. So such associations operating in the public space are important. Why? Because when we talk about civil society is not just the NGOs, right? Civil society is also media. So we need to keep a track of all these things. Moving on. Before I move on, I just want to say that it was the India's public broadcaster, that is the Prasar Bharati, which hosted the 59th ABU General Assembly in 2022, and hence this was in news. Moving on. Consider the following statements. The PMLA grants the Enforcement Directorate the authority to search, confiscate, and attach property. Well, we need to look at the correct statements, and this statement is correct. We often hear that properties have been attached under PMLA in the news. The National Investigation Agency is not bound to share information with the ED. Often we see that there is a tussle between agencies at times, whether it is ED, CBI, NIA, etc. Right? While we look at this statement, we need to look at the fact that the central government recently accorded the approval that the NIA can receive case information from 15 more ministries and departments, including the NIA. The ED can receive information from including the NIA. So NIA is not bound to share information is incorrect, because the rules permit NIA. Apart from this, there are other ministries and agencies, whether it is the state police departments, regulators, Ministry of External Affairs, Competition Commission of India, SITs, CVC, Defense Intelligence Agency, etc. So this statement is incorrect and we need to find the correct statement, and hence the answer is option A. Option A. Moving on. Consider the following statements regarding Project Unnati. So schemes, policies, programs, projects, plans are the part of governance, especially with regards to preliminary examination. So let us look at these set of statements. It is a skilling project intended to upgrade the skill base of the MG-Narega beneficiaries. That is correct. Basically, the idea, if we look at MG-Narega, it is an old project, but it is always in news. Whether we talk about the tussle between center and states regarding the Manrega payments, etc. So it is important to keep a tab on Manrega and related developments. So largely, if you remember the debate, the criticism of Manrega was that people were asked to dig pits and other set of people were asked to fill those pits. And hence an element of skilling, the idea of skilling these people so that apart from those 100 days wage employment, they can, get some sort of a livelihood based on their skills. This idea was introduced and hence this is correct. The training is provided by the Ministry of Panchayati Raj. Well, that is incorrect. If we look at the facts under the Unnati, one adult member of a household which is eligible and has completed 100 days under Manrega is provided the training under the Rural Skills Division of the Ministry of Rural Development and through the Krishi Vigyan Kendras of Ministry of Agriculture, right? So it is not the Ministry of Panchayati Raj alone of sorts, right? Though yes, various agencies on ground, because Manrega is largely executed by the Panchayati Raj setup, but they cooperate. But it is the skills which are provided by the Ministry of Rural Development as well as Ministry of Agriculture. So this makes this statement as incorrect and we need to find the correct statement, right? So the correct option would be option A. Moving on. POXO Act. Well, children are important and hence acts like Juvenile Justice Act, POXO, bodies like NCPCR, right? They are important. So let us look at the set of statements. The Act sets a gender neutral tone for legal processes of any child victims. Well, that is correct, right? It addresses the sexual assault, sexual harassment, pornography, sexual violence against a child. That is also correct. So it is fairly a low hanging one, that it's an easy one, but the point is that while we take a lot of interest onto the developments related to the POXO Act, etc., we often miss the simpler and regular features of the Act, and hence it is important to note, because the question might allude to something very basic, but they are important from the current affairs point of view, which might not be in news. As I say, locus is important. So both the statements are correct and hence the answer is option C. Option C. Moving on. With reference to the scheme for survey of villages, abadi and mapping with improvised technology in village areas, consider the following statement. Well, a lot of you might be perplexed that what is this scheme? We are talking about nothing but the Swamitva. Right? So expanded forms of these schemes might confuse you because we have so many schemes like PM, GK, AY, right? Schemes like that. Also, there was this Indradhanush. So one was Mission Indradhanush and one was Plan. So one was for bank recapitalization, the other one was for vaccination. Right? So always be very diligent while picking up the names. Now let us look at these statements. The scheme aims to establish clear ownership of land in rural inhabited areas. That is true. Survey of India is the nodal agency for the implementation of scheme. That is incorrect. It is the Ministry of Panchayati Raj. Right. If you remember, it was launched on the Panchayati Raj Day. Right. So that makes second statement incorrect and we need to find the correct statement and hence the answer is option A. Moving on. Consider the following statements regarding the Law Commission of India. So various reports, especially in the news with regards to, let's say, Uniform Civil Code, right, and other things have been in news. And if you read those news items, they always refer to the Law Commission. And such a basic question out of the Law Commission is important. Okay. So it says it's a statutory body. Well, no, it is not. It is, formed by the notification of the Government of India. Right. There is no act as such through which it takes birth. Second, it is constituted to carry out research in the field of law and the commission makes recommendations to the government. Well, that is correct. Fairly easy one if you know this difference. The statutory, constitutional, quasi-judicial, tribunals, executive kind of a body, which is very much part of the governance and social justice landscape. Okay, so this statement is incorrect and we need to find the correct statement and hence the answer is option B. Option B. Moving on. The right to city envisions cities and human settlements as common goods that should be shared and benefit all the members of the community. Well, that is correct. Basically, if we look at this, every year, the 31st of October is celebrated as World Cities Day. Right. And in this regard, this particular, right to city kind of a campaign was in news. Statement 2. The right to city gives every occupant, irrespective of their regality, a claim over city. Well, yes, that is also true. Basically, the idea is that the state within which that city is should act on the principle of social justice and provide equal opportunity and services to every resident. Okay. The World Cities Day 2022 was observed globally in Shanghai under the theme Act Local to Go Global. Well, this is also correct. So highly factual, right? But important from the governance point of view. Okay. So we need to find the correct statements and all the statements seem correct and hence the answer is option D. Option D. Okay. So that basically concludes the set of questions that we have. Mind you, you can scan this QR code and visit the link in the description to attempt more such interesting MCQs and test your preparation, as well as value add to the journey towards the preliminary examination. That's all. Thank you.